Welcome to our class today. Within this class, we will be learning introduction about ETABS program. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you'll be able to see what I am doing. This will be the building or the plan that we are going to model on ETABS. And these are the dimensions. In one of them, we have 4.5 meter spacing, 6 meters, 5 meters, and we have here a cantilever of 2 meters, as you can see. And the other side, 3 meters, 8 meters, 5, 6, and another cantilever of 1.5 meter. Here, these blue lines are the beams. So we have beams between columns, and at the intersections here, we have columns. Maybe the color is not clear. It's the same color as the beam. So here we have some columns, okay? And at the cantilever, I put a small beam here with a very small size just to allow us to add a line load as the parapet load of on the cantilever. Okay, so this is the plan that we will try to use together or to model together. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the ETABS program. What we can do here, we can start a new model, or if you already worked in one model, you can open the existing model because you will not finish all the work in one day. Here, this screen or this window shows the recent model that you were working on. So this will show you the model that you are doing, and you can open directly from here. Or if you want to open a new model, or if you have an old model but not included in this, so you can also open and go and find the place. So what we are going to do now, we are going to start a new model. So we will click on new model. Then you will have this window here, and it will give you, say, model initialization. And you have some options. Use saved user default settings. If you were working with the ETABS, so you did many examples. You put some default settings about units, about which code you are using, which sizes of steel sections, and so on. So if you have something default, you can use the default setting instead of doing this every time. Or use settings from a model file. If you have a previous file, you can use the setting from the model file. Or you can make your built-in settings. You can use the settings based on what you want. So we are going to use the built-in setting because this is the first time you will use the program. So here, the units that you need. So we'll use US unit or metric unit, metric SI. So we'll choose the metric SI, kilonewton, meter, and so on. This is the ones that we will use. And here, steel section database. If you are designing a steel structure, you know, in a steel structure, you need to have database for the sections, the angles, for channels, for I-beams, and so on. For us, it's not important because we are not using this in our project. We are designing reinforced concrete structure, not steel structure, so not important for that one. Don't touch it. And the steel design code also, we are not making design for steel, so these two is not important. And the one we need concrete design code. The concrete design code, you have several codes here. So what we are going to use, we'll use the BS, the British Standard 8110-97. This is the BS code that you have taken in your concrete design course, and this is the one that we will follow in our design. So the one you change here is the metric. We'll use metric SI, and we'll use BS 8110. Okay, and then you can click on OK. Then here it will give you some information about the grids that you can use, and also if you want something blank without anything, or grid only, or you can directly, if you want to design a flat slab, you can take a model directly from here just to save your time, waffle slab, two-way slab, ribbed, and so on. And here, this grid dimensions on plan, and this is story dimension. So for this left side, you have the plan, the distance between the axes, 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, and so on. And this one, it will give you the story height and the number of stories and so on. Here by default, it will give you number of grid lines in the X direction. Okay, this X direction is 4, number and Y is 4, spacing 8 meters, 8 meter, we will not do that. Okay, if you want, we can, yes, it will give you this, but we can modify it later. And or from the beginning we can do that. If we can choose the spacings that we want, if you have different spacing, as the examples that we saw here. So this example, if you can see, we have here, just let's remember together, we have 4.5, 6 meters, 5 meters, 2 meters, and in the horizontal direction we have 3, 8, and so on. Okay, so this is the ones that we need to use. So to do that, we'll use click on custom grid spacing, and this will open for us. We can click here, edit grid data. We will edit on the grid data. Okay, here on the grid data, here grid system name doesn't matter, don't touch. If you have more than one grid, we can do that, but we have also only one grid here. So you can display grid data as ordinates or display grid data as a spacing. Spacing is easier. Okay, spacing is easier. So we can, how many axes in the x axis, A, B, C, D. Let's go and revise this. We have or here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 5, and here A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so we can increase the number. We can add here, okay, until F, and here we have 5. So let's start by spacing. The first spacing we have not 8 meter. Okay, this is X data grid. Okay, so we have 3 meter, 8 meter, 5 meter, 6 meter, and 1.5 meter. So we will come here and put 3. Okay. Then, so you can see here, once we click 3, so the distance between A and B now is 3 meters. Then the second one, we have 8 meters. Yes, 8 meters. So this will be 8. We'll keep it as is. Then the second one, the third one between C and D is 5 meters. So I will come here and make it 5 meters. Okay. Then 6 meters and then 1.5 meters. So 6 meters, 1.5 meters, and that's it. There is nothing after F. There is nothing. It's okay. So this is fine. I make the vertical grids. Let's now get the horizontal grids. We have here 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the distance is 4.5, 6, 5, 2. Okay, 4.5. Okay, then 6, then 5, and the cantilever, it was 2. So now we have the grid here. Okay, you can, if you want to add any other grid, you can add here more than 5. You have 10, you have 15, you have from A to H or A to whatever. You can add more number of grids. Okay, and then we can click on OK. Now about we finished this left part, the grid data on the plan. We finished this. Let's now talk about stories, number of stories, and typical story height. This is by default. It will give you 4 stories. Typical story height is 3 meter. Bottom story height is 3 meter. Okay, we can change this. Okay, so we can also say custom story data and edit story data. Okay, here these by default are the values: base, story 1, story 2, story 3, and story 4. And by default, he give you the height here 3 meters, 6, 9, 12. This is the height and the floor. So we can change even this is the base or foundation level. And then instead of story 1, we can say this is the ground level. Okay, then we can here first or FIRST, second, and roof, for example. Okay, or you can put story 1, story 2 based on whatever you want. Then the height here you can write. So this will be 1, and then first will be 4 meters, for example, and then second and roof will be 3 meters. Okay, so in this case, I put the distance between ground and foundation level as 1 meter, okay, as if the foundation level will be 1 meter under the ground floor level. Then the distance between first and the ground will be 4. And then the typical distance 3 meters for the second and for the roof. Okay, and then we can say, okay, you can change the color if you want, and many things here. And this is second, first, master story. Here he will tell you this, there is a master story and it can be applied for the rest. Okay, so the master story, it could be the roof, and we repeat it for the others. For roof will be similar or none. None. I want to do every one as I want. Don't make them similar to the other. Okay, so that's fine. And if I click OK now, let's see how it will be our model. Now we will see only the grid lines. So you can see the grid lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, and this is similar to the same grid lines that we have it here. And also you can have another window. This second window will give you a 3D view of your shape. You can change even the view from here. We will go through this. But this is 2 windows. You can close at any time one and keep only one window as a bigger window for you, or you can use the 2 together. It doesn't matter. You can change from the plan view as this one to a 3D by this here. You can see here at the top here we have some things or like some icons here. This is if you want to have a new model, open, save. Okay, we'll learn about this. All this one here about the zooming in or zooming out, or like moving your window here. For example, if I click this one, I can move like this if I want to decrease, if I want to increase, enlarge, or this one will give me the whole model, and so on. You can click on a small area so you can see it and see the dimensions and so on. If you want to go back, you click on that one, it will take you back and so on. So these are about the view and zooming in and out and so on. This one about if you finish anything, everything you want to run the analysis, we run the analysis. And if we run the analysis, this lock here will, if it is locked, it means it's already designed. And if you want to unlock, you can unlock. If you want to make any modification in your building, you can unlock and make the changes again. And then you make the run analysis, click on run analysis. The analysis will be done, and again it will be automatically locked. If you want again to modify, you have to unlock and make your modification and so on. You will do that several times. Then here, this is about view. You can, if you are in this window, for example, you want a 3D, you can just click on the 3D. If you want a plan, it will go back to plan, but it will tell you which floor you want. You want a plan for the base, okay, or the ground, first, second, or roof. Okay, let's start by the base. This is the base. By the way, you can move from one floor to another floor by these 2 arrows. Here I am at the base level. You can see here, this is plan view, base Z equals 0. It means the level is 0. If I want to move to the ground floor level, I will click here once. Okay, so this will be the ground and the level is 1 meter. Let's move to the first floor. The Z is 5 meters because we said the height of the first floor was 4 meters. Then the second floor, it was 3 meters height, so 5 plus 3, you will find the Z is 8 meters. Then we have the roof at 11 meters. So this will be based on the project of every one of you. He will put the height based on your project. Okay, so you can move from one floor to another based on, or using these 2 arrows. Fine. What else? Here we will learn about this later when we make the model. I will show you what are these values. This whole, it's regarding also viewing the structure as extruded view or not extruded, only lines, or okay. So if you want to see the size of the elements, the size of the beam or the column, we will work with this one. Later on we discuss this. This part here about the, if you did already the analysis, here if you want to put some loads here, you can put some loads from here. And then the analysis will be here. You can see it is closed now because we did not run any analysis, so we don't have any data. And here also these values will give you, if you want to give dimensions for the column size or beam size and so on. Okay, these are, you can reach these from these points here, or also we have some uh, points here: file, edit, view, as usual as any program. So if you want to change anything, we can use the edit. For file here, it will give you, if you want to open a new file, save and print and so on. View, if you want to 3D view, plan view, zooming in, out, and so on. So all the values here, or the things that we have it here, we have it also on at the top, at these windows here. Okay, all of this we can use either this one or that one. At the left side here also we have some icons that will help us to make a drawing a beam, drawing a column. We can reach them directly from here, or we can reach by draw, and then we will select again the values that you have it here. It will be repeated at this one. Okay, so you have different tools and so on. Let's start our modeling. Okay, we started already our modeling by making a grid. So this is the grid that you have, and you will do this for your building, horizontal grid, and also the height between floors and the height of the base and so on. Fine. So what will be the next step? The next step will go to define. Okay, we will go to define. Define, we have different things we need to define here. We need to define the materials we are using. Materials, we have two different materials we are using. We have concrete and we have the steel reinforcement, the rebars. After that, we need to define the sections that we have. Okay, the frame sections, slabs and beams, walls, and so on. We can do that from here. So the two things that we need here: material properties and section properties. There are many other things, spring properties, if you have a spring, or diaphragms, because this is like a very huge program. You can use it to design many things. Pier, and if you have a bridge and you have a pier, spandrel labels, many things. But the two that we need to use for your project now: material properties and section properties. So let's start by clicking on material properties. It will open you here, and by default you already have some materials. Okay, you have already some materials. We can use them, or we can add new materials. I prefer that we can add our new materials as we want. Okay, so these are by default, we have it there. We can add a copy of a material, or we can add a new material. So we can add a new material. Okay, region, United States, or doesn't matter here, Europe, United States. We don't have something here in Oman, so it's okay. We can say Europe, for example. And let's start by concrete. Okay, the concrete first. This is the concrete, and the standard that we will use, because this is Europe, so they are using this standard here, is not important. And the grade of the concrete, 30, 37. Okay, the first number here, it will give you the grade of the concrete. So C35, it means this is the concrete of FCU is 35. C40, it means 40. So let's say C35 or C30, doesn't matter. Okay, C35, 45, means the concrete strength is 35 megapascal. Okay, allow me to close this one. So C35, let's say, okay. Okay, so it will take you to this window here. We have the concrete is C35, 45. We can change even the name and say it is C35. The type of the material is concrete. There are steel, aluminum, and so on. So this is concrete. Okay, don't change this isotropic. Here, by default, you have some materials. Okay, just a second. These are the concrete, and this is isotropic. Don't change this isotropic. And I will turn off, I will close my phone, just not receiving a calls. And then here you have specific weight density, don't change any of these, keep as is. Okay, weight per unit volume 23 kilonewton per meter square, or 23.5, because this is a concrete itself, not reinforced concrete. When we add the steel reinforcement, increase it to 24 or 25. So don't touch any of these. Let's go here, modify, show material properties, design data. Okay, here the you can here change the concrete cube compressive strength. Okay, C35. Let's put it here 35 megapascal. So this is what we can change. We said C35. We will say if the concrete cube compressive strength 35. Okay, that's okay. Non-linear material dumping, all of this don't touch. So here you can put the name as you want. Don't touch any other thing. If the material is concrete, yes, we have to put it as concrete, not as steel. We modify the material properties, go here and change this one to 35. If you want to change the grade here and put it 35 also, it doesn't matter. It's okay, it's fine. Then I will say okay, okay. So you can see here that already this material is added, C35. Okay, C35 is added. You can show it and modify at any time, modify or show material. If it's okay, that's fine, cancel. So this is the material, the concrete. Let's also add a new material, which are the steel reinforcement rebars. Add new material. Okay, instead of concrete, we will choose rebar, the steel reinforcement. Okay, and we'll say okay. So this is rebar, because it is a steel, rebar is a steel, so this is the density. Don't do anything here. Modify material properties, we can go here and rebar grade, let's say 460, for example. It will give us minimum yield strength, F yield 413. Okay, we can put it 460 because we need it 460, and expected here it changed also to 460. Okay, so this is minimum tensile strength. If ultimate, this is the strength, expected tensile strength. These are not important. The 460, this is the yield strength that we need to change, and we'll say okay, and we'll say also okay. So we have the two materials, concrete C35 or C40 or whatever, and the rebar, and we'll say okay. So now we already have our two materials that we defined through this define material properties. Okay, so to define the materials, go to define material properties, and now we have C35 and we have also the rebar. Fine, let's say okay. Now let's go to and define the section properties. The second item here, section properties. We have here frame sections or beam sections, is the same. Frame, it means the beam also, sections, and we have a slab section here. So let's start by the frame sections. Okay, frame sections also by default it has concrete beam, concrete column, steel beam, steel column. Okay, so for concrete beam, let's use it and we'll add copy of the property. Okay, we have this one. If you want to see modify or show properties, you will find this is the property here, give you dimensions and the beam and so on. Okay, so we can take a copy of that one, or we can start add a new property from the beginning. Okay, so let's start modify or add a copy of the property. Okay, and we will give it a name. As I told you in the lecture, we will have different beam. Let's say this B 400, okay, by 200. Okay, we said this will be, let's say, the minimum that we have, or 300, it doesn't matter. And we can come here. What is the material? The material, we have to define that this is C35. This is concrete, C35, okay. And then we have to put the dimensions, depth and width. The depth, because this is 400 times 200, so the depth is 400. And the width here, we can put it as 200 millimeter. Once you do that, you can see that the dimensions are here. Okay, this is 400 and 200 here. Modify and show rebars. Let's go and modify here. Here, this is, you have 2 points here. If it is column or it is beam, we have to click on the beam because we already choose a copy of a beam, so it is already a beam. You can change here the cover to longitudinal rebars. You can put the cover as 40, centroid of the bar, 40 or 50 millimeter. Okay, based on the cover, because this will include the cover plus stirrup plus half of the diameter of the bar. It could be 40 or 50 millimeter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's say 50 millimeter. Okay. And reinforcement area, don't touch any of these things, no need. But the longitudinal bars here on this one, we can click on the rebar. Okay, and confinement bars will use the same thing. The rebars as for stirrups, confinement bars, it means ties or stirrups, and longitudinal bars that we use the longitudinal reinforcement in beams and columns. And we'll say, okay, okay. So you have now your first beam. Okay. So add a copy of that one. Already we did this one. We can add a copy of this one, and we will change it to say beam 500 times 200. Okay. And instead of 400 it will be 500. And we can say, okay, we don't need to go and change here because we already made our changes, so that's fine. And we can say, okay, so you have the 500, add a copy of this one. Let's say another beam 600 times 200. And here we change only the height to 600, as you can see. And we say, okay, so we have now three types of beam: 400 by 200, 500 by 200, 600 by 200 millimeter. If we want to add more, we can add also more as you want, 700, 800, but no need to do that in our example here. Then let's go to the column. Okay, we have concrete column here. Let's add a copy of the property because it's a column, and we'll say this is first column. C, it will be C column. Instead of beam, it will be C because it will refer to column. And also the same, let's say the first column 400 by 100. Okay, and again we'll choose the material as concrete, and the size here 400, and here 200. Okay, you can see here this is the column, but it has a lot of reinforcement. As I explained to you in the lecture, let's put a reinforcement 4 bars in the long side and 2 bars in the short side. So modify and show bars. Okay, so here let's put here 4 bars. No, oh, here 4 bars, and according to this it will be here 2 bars. Longitudinal bar size we can use, let's say 16 millimeter, and corner bar size also it will be 16 millimeter. Confinement bars, which is the stirrups, let's start by using 8 millimeter stirrups, and the spacing here let's put it as 200 millimeter. Okay, so this is the reinforcement. To be reinforcement to be designed or to be checked, we'll ask him to be design reinforcement. Okay, and this is rectangular column with confinement bars اللي هي ties. There is a difference between ties and spirals. The spirals are we use them in circular columns, and the tie will be circular spirals, continuous, going like this. We use one bar and we bend it spiral. Ties, it means each bar separate, one bar, one tie, another tie, not one long bar and connected together. So that's it, we did this, and it is column. We have to click here on the column, and also the rebars, change this to rebar and change this to rebar, so it knows that the reinforcement will be the 460 F yield steel reinforcement. And we say okay. Okay, so this is the first column. If you want to add a copy of this column, yes, we can add a copy of this column, and we'll say C 500 times 200. Okay, and the only change here will be 500, and then go and modify bars, and instead of 3 bars 4 bars, will let's say put 5 bars. Okay, and keep the rest as is. So this will be the 500 by 200. Okay, let's add another one, add another property. Okay, C 600 times 200. Okay, and this will be 600, and the bars will put this R as 6 bars, and say okay. Now these columns are all like vertical. The depth is 600, 200, and 500, 200, and so on. You can make another copy of these columns, but make them horizontally. And for example, this one I need to modify the name because it is here 200. Okay, okay. Let's say I want another column of this. Add a copy of the property, and I will say it is column 200 by 600. Okay, we can do it from now here, or you can put the column and the on the ETABS and change the direction from vertical to be horizontal. But we can do it here by just clicking here 200, and this will be 600. Okay, it will be like this. But also we have to change the bars. The bars, instead of 2 and 6, it will be 6 and 2 bars. Here we say okay. So you can see now you have this column. You can put it directly. If you want horizontal column, you can use this one instead of putting vertical and change the direction. It's okay, it's up to you. Let's say now we defined what? We defined some beams, beam to 400, 500, 600, columns 200, 400, or no, column here 200, 600, and 400 times 200, 500 times 200, 600, and so on. Okay, so these are the columns. That's it. These are, we don't need any more, or if you have more columns or beams, you will do that. Once we finish, خلاص, it's okay. We finished and we have already this. Let's again go to define and define section properties. We finish the frame sections. We'll go to the slab sections now. Okay, for slab sections, we define the slab. So we have a slab already there. Add a copy of this property. Okay, and we'll say slab. Let's say the thickness of the slab 150. Okay, or we can say S 150, slab of 150. We choose the material C35. Okay, and this is a slab, and this will be 150 millimeter, and say okay. So we defined a slab 150. Add a copy of this property. Yes, هنسميها S 170 millimeter. If you have 170 millimeter, and you would change this one to 170 millimeter. Okay, so we have now two slabs, 150, 170. Add a copy of the property. Whatever slabs you have, you can say S200, for example, and we change this one to 200. That's fine. So we defined three slabs, S150, 170, 200, and whatever you have, you can add your slabs here. And let's say we click on OK. So we finished this defined part. Materials, section properties are already done. Okay. We have some other things here about load cases. Okay, load cases and load combinations. Let's keep this later about load cases and load combinations. We can see it later. And let's start now making our model, and we will add loads later. Okay, fine. We will go back again to this one maybe in another video, but let's start making our model. Okay, so let's go back and see our model here. This is the model. We need to have beams connecting these from at axis A. You have beams here. You have axis 2, 3, 4, and this is a cantilever. We don't have need to have a beam for now. I will add this later. And also at the intersections, we have columns. Okay, so let's see how to do that. Let's go back to ETABS. And now we will be working on the base. No, we will go starting from the horizontal, from the ground floor level. Okay, I will go up at level 1. So I am at the level 1 now, and we will start by making the beams and the columns. Okay, let's start by beams, for example. For beams, you can click on draw and go and draw a beam. Okay, or you can draw a beam directly from here. Okay, so you can quick draw of a beam. Okay, from this symbol here. Okay, so click on that one. It will open you this window. So the type of the lines that you want, it will be a frame. It means a beam. Okay, the property, click here and choose which beam you want. Okay, so we have these our beams. Beam 400, 200, 500, 600. Okay, so let's say I will use 400 for the small span here, 3 meters. Okay, or yes, for the 3 meters, we'll use the minimum one. So I'm going to click this one. Okay, and I will come here from this point to that point. No, not this one, sorry. If you want to remove anything, by the way, you can click here and remove. Click, delete. Okay, the delete on your keyboard or right click and delete. Maybe right click and delete, it does not work here, so just delete. So I remove. Again, I want to make a beam here, a quick beam. No, this first symbol here, if you give you the beginning of the beam and the end of the beam. If you want like an easier way, you can directly click on that one, and we choose this one here, and I will directly click here. So I have a beam here. Okay, you can see in this one, you have the beam on the 3D. Let's add another beam, a third beam, a fourth beam. So I added 4 beams at the ground floor level. Okay. Then these beams are all 400 by 200. Then let's add some other beams here. Okay, this is 8 meters, so we'll take the biggest one. Here we'll take the 600, maybe you can make 800 by 200. Yes, no problem. So I'm going to click here. And these are the beams. If you want to see these beams as a real size, come here on this one, but just to because we were clicking on that one, it draws a beam here for us. Let's remove this beam, and we don't have anything. I will be here and go at the top here and see something called extruded view. Extruded view, click on this one. You can see now the beams as a real size. Okay, this is 400, this is 600. Therefore, the beams are, one is bigger than the other. Okay, this is the beam. Okay, I have a beam, you have another beam here. Okay, let's continue. I will go again and draw a beam, and for this one, 5 meters, 6 meters, I will use for both of them, let's say the medium one, 500. So I will click here. Okay, so I finished all beams in the horizontal direction. Let's now put the beams in the vertical direction. The 500, this distance is 450, 6, so we can use all 500, will be suitable for all of them. So let's say 500, and like this. $500. Okay, so we finished all the beams. Let's go again and check this one. You can see that we don't have a beam here at this point here. For between 2 and 3, we don't have a beam, so we have to go back. We already added a beam here by mistake, so just click on this arrow here, and then it choose the beam. Click on the beam, so it will be chosen, and then delete from your keyboard. It will be deleted, as you can see here. So these are all the beams that we have, and we put all the dimensions, right? Let's now put our columns. To draw a column, we are going to click on this one, quick draw of the column. Okay, quick draw of the column, click here. And then again, we'll go to this one and choose now column. We have here column 400, 200, 500 by 200, 600 by 200, and we have also 600 by 200, but a horizontal one. Let's start by the smaller column, 400 by 200. Okay. Moment release. If you want here the moment to be released from the column, we can click here, pin. Okay, so the columns will not take a moment. And let's start here. If you want to draw a column here, we draw it like this. This is the column. Okay, this is the column here, another column. If you want to change the direction of the column angle, you can change this angle to 90, and then you click, then offset. If you want to move little bit your column from the joint, you want to move it little bit up or down, you can put offset here. Okay, and then we can click here. So you can see this column is horizontal, and because here we put 90 degrees, so the column is vertical. Finished. Okay, we finished the first column, and you can see these are the columns here because I am at the ground, so it will draw it from the ground to the base or to the foundation level, which is 1 meter under the ground floor level. Okay, so let's move this one to put it exactly in the middle here. So we define the first 4 columns here. Okay, for other columns, let's say again, I want to draw columns, and I will go and change the column size. All the columns at the middle, let's say we'll take the biggest one. Okay, I will take this column, see 200 by 600. And then if you want, you can click like this. At all intersections, it will be draw directly. You can see here, it draws all the columns here. The perimeter columns will take less load, so we can choose another column. We can choose, let's say, 500 by 200, okay, and 90 degrees, for example, okay, and then, okay, and I will come, no, let's make it 0, okay, and we'll do it like this, okay, we'll do it like this, we'll do it like this. So now I define all the column. By mistake, we added one column here, which we don't need. You can see here, this is the column. We added a column at a point where there is no column there. So what we can do, just to go away from this one, click on the arrow here, and then you can come and make a window here and just delete. So the column will be deleted, as you can see. Okay. So this one here, let's go. If you want to see the whole building, click on this one, and you can see everything. Okay. So let's go and see extruded view. Sorry, extruded view. Okay, these are the ground floor level. We draw all the beams and the columns. Fine. Now, if you want to repeat this in the second floor or in the first floor, okay, and we will draw the columns also in the first floor. So what can we do? If you want to repeat the beams only, okay, or yes, we don't have a slab on the ground here. There's no slab, so only we have this will be the plinth beams at the ground floor level. Why we use the plinth beams? To build the walls at the ground floor on this. So these beams will carry only the load from the walls because you have walls here. Now you can repeat all of this again in the second floor. You can move here, okay, in the first floor, which is at a level 5 meters. Okay, we can repeat this, or we can just take a copy of that one. So let's take a copy of these ones. But I don't want to take the columns. I want to take only a copy of the beams, okay, because the column height is smaller. It's only 1 meter, but however, it will be 4 meters in from the ground to the first floor. So let's take the beam. Now, this one here, if you will go to this one with this symbol here, and it will give you which one you want to show and which you don't want to show. So here, columns are visible, beams are visible, bracing, floors, everything is visible. If you want now, just I don't want to see the columns. So I will come here, click on this one. The columns are not shown here, and say, okay. So you can see here, there is no columns. Okay. However, for this one, it is shown because I did not click it here. It applied to only this window. Fine. If you don't want to see the extruded view, again, you can click on this one. It will be only lines. You can see the beams now are as lines. This letter, this one here, symbol here, if you click, it will cut, not cutting the beam, but it will shrink the beams to show you which beams here you have. You have this beam here, yes, from this point to that point, but shrink just to show you that the beam is okay. And if you don't want to make the shrink again, shrink and so on. Okay. So what we want to do now, we want to select everything. I will select everything like this. So I selected all beams without columns because the columns are not visible here on this one. And then what I do, I will go and say edit. Okay. For edit here, you have something called replicate. Click on replicate. Okay. And will tell you, okay, you want to replicate through the story. Okay, I want to replicate this on the story. I want to do it on first, roof, and click on shift and take second and first. Okay, because we draw them at the ground and we want to repeat them for the first, for second, for roof. Okay, so I can say yes. Okay, see, these are directly the beams in different floors. Okay, let's now on this one, I will go again and show the columns and will hide the beam and say okay. So these are the columns, and then I will click on all of them. Okay, choose all of them, and I will try now to say also replicate as the story, and then it is already on the ground. I will take first until roof and will say okay. See, these are directly it makes the columns and it gives the dimension or the height 4 meters, 3 meters, because we said replicate between stories and the stories height already given. So this is showing the whole building that we have it here as beams and columns are already defined. All of them are already defined. So what else we need to do? We need to have the slabs. So let's go on this one. And the slabs, we can go to the first slabs that we have will be at level 5. This is the first floor. To draw a slab, we will go here to this one. Okay. Quick draw floor. So I will do it like this. And if you want to have a square or rectangular slab, you can do it with that. If you have a trapezoidal slab, you have to draw it with this one from point to point, second point, third point, fourth point, and so on, from this one and this one. If you have a difficult shape, you can use this one. But if you have a square or rectangular, you can use directly this one, is easier. And then which slab you choose. Okay, we have a slab 170, 150, and so on. So let's say for the small slabs here, I will use the smaller one, S150. Okay. You can see here the slabs are here now, okay, with this gray color. Okay. Then this one will be, and this one will be, let's say, take more, 170. I will choose this one here for 170. Okay. Then the bigger slab, I will choose a slab of 200, and it will be like this. So these are the slabs for the first floor. If you want to repeat these slabs for different floors, خلاص, okay, click them. Choose all the slabs that you have it here. Okay. And again, edit, replicate, and between stories. These are the ground. The first, I will repeat them on the roof, and in the second, I will say okay. You will find the slabs are already defined here. طيب, there is a mistake we did here. We don't have a slab here. Okay, we don't have a slab here, and we have sub-cantilevers. So let's go and do that. For these slabs here, I don't have this slab, so let's remove it. And then I will go to the second upper floor, remove it, and the top floor also remove it. So we don't have this slab here at this area. Okay. What else? We need to have a slab here as a cantilever. If you will go back to this drawing, we have a cantilever here, so we need to add a slab here. So we will go to the ETABS. At the top floor, we'll come and add a slab here for the cantilever. Let's draw a slab, again, a slab here with 200 millimeter, okay, like this. And let's say these are the cantilevers that we have. Okay, we define them at the roof level, as you can see here. We can go back we can do it by replicate other floors, or we can go and draw them here also. Okay. Then for the first floor, if you have them, fine. So these are the slabs here for this one. If you want to remove this extruded view, you can, like this. It will be only lines, as you can see here. You have the cantilever, you have the slabs, and so on. If you want to see as extruded view, click on this one. It will be like an extruded view like this. Okay. So this is our model now. We defined on this one, okay, escape. And on this one, you can just, okay, you can move it. You can rotate it as you want. You can look at this from any one here. Okay, you can rotate it and look if things are okay, if you are missing something or not, and so on. Here they assume this is pin because we said it's pin connection at the beginning, and this is the cantilever. You can see this is the cantilever, this is the column, this is the beam, and so on. Okay, so this is our building. If you want to see a plan here also, you can see a plan. Yes, okay, it is a plan. If I want to see an elevation, okay, at A, okay, so it will give me the elevation at A. If you take a section here at A, it will show you 4 columns. Column at A, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, there is no column here. If I want to move to B, just by clicking on this one, now I move to at B and at C and so on. And you can do it also in the other direction. You can see move from one level to another level and so on. Okay, and in the other direction also in the big. Now I'm working on 1. In 1 I have a span here, the first span, a smaller one, we put a smaller thickness of the beam. Then we have a big span with a big beam, and the other 2 spans we use. And here this is the base, ground, first, second, and roof. Okay, so this is how to model our building for now. Okay, now we modeled our building as dimensions, grids, we put the columns, we put the beams, and we put the slab. But what else we need to add? We need to add loads. Okay, we need to add loads on these things. I prefer to keep loads for another video. We can do it next week